In this video, I'm sharing a cactus cake design with you. The focus will be on how to make these beautiful colors for a realistic look, so stay tuned. For your cactus cake, you're going to need a cake, obviously. I am using my buttermilk chocolate cake. I've got 3 layers here. You're welcome to check out that recipe on my YouTube channel. I'm going to put that aside. I had that in the freezer. A batch of chocolate mousse. Actually, this is a half a batch because it's a very small cake. Also on my YouTube channel and on my website. I'm going to experiment a little bit with the chocolate ganache. You're going to need a batch of buttercream. That's my Italian meringue buttercream, which I also have a very detailed tutorial on how to make. You're going to need some colors. Now I'm trying this out today, and I'm also going to combine it with my gel colors. So we'll go over that in a little bit as far as what colors you're going to need. You'll need a couple of pastry bags that you make out of parchment paper, some wax paper pieces cut into squares. You can also use parchment. Flower nails. I have 2 sizes here. You don't need 2 sizes. You'll need some pastry bags with couplers, some kind of a cake board. I'm going to use my silver ones. I really love these. You can get these on my Amazon store or in my Amazon store. Graham cracker crumbs and or gold sparkles. I like to combine them. I have a couple different golds here. That's going to be for the sand. That's going to be part of the arrangement. Little decoration I'm going to put on top. The most important thing when it comes to making the cactus, if you really want to make them look realistic, is the colors. We'll start with the green, and then we're going to add the other colors, and I'll show you how. Now normally you would start with white buttercream and you'd color it. I happen to have green left over from a previous cake, and I have a couple different greens in here. So I'm going to incorporate that into it. But if you don't have green already, you would mix, and this is how I do it. I would mix moss green, it's a Wilton moss, a little bit of leaf green, and a little bit of the juniper, and maybe even a touch of black. So what I'll do is I'll show you here how I would mix these colors. I would start with the moss, and I would use a generous amount. A little bit of juniper. Tiny bit of leaf green. And a little bit of black. Now it's starting to get that nice moss, but it could be a little richer. So I would go back and I would add a little more. till you get it to the color that you want. That's pretty good. This will darken as it sits. So I'm going to let that sit. My buttercream recipe is nice and fluffy, Italian meringue, but sometimes it needs to be microwaved for a few minutes, for a few seconds, and then whipped up a little bit to make it smooth. This is the buttercream recipe that's on the website, and it's also on YouTube. I have a detailed tutorial on how to make it there. And one of the tips that I talk about is how to get your buttercream smooth by using the microwave. I put this in the microwave for 10 seconds, sometimes 20 depending, and then I just mix it until it gets nice and smooth. So it's less air bubbles. And the other thing is when you're coloring your buttercream, in order for the color to bind, you need to add a little bit of confectionery sugar. The next color we're going to make is this gray violet. We don't need a lot of gray violet, so I'm going to put a little bit in a cup, and I'm going to use my violet. So if you have violet or purple, just put a tiny bit. Start off with a tiny bit. I'm going to go ahead and add a tiny bit of black. Put that aside. You are going to want to have a little bit of dark purple, so take about maybe half of this purple and make that a little darker. You can see right here purple blended in with the green, and let that sit. And now for the brown. You can see I'm going to need a lot. You can also use cocoa, or you can use ganache, which I happen to have some ganache here. So whenever you're trying to deepen a color, you can add black. Okay, so we've got our brown. I think I'm going to add a little red to that. Then we have our buttercup yellow. I happen to have some made already. The perfect color right there. And that is actually buttercup yellow, which you can get in already pre-made. Buttercup yellow, I don't need a whole lot of that. I am just going to take my already made buttercup and add it to this, and then probably add more. That's a real nice yellow for the cactus. Set that aside. If you happen to have leftover green, it makes it really, really interesting if you can just very gently mix other greens in. you'll see how great that looks once we get it in the piping bag. One more color that you might want to consider is red. And again, I happen to have some already made here, and I'm going to add some fresh buttercream to that. So we've got red, green, buttercup yellow, brown, and 2 different shades of violet, and I think we're all ready to go. One more color that you might want to add is a dusty rose. I happen to have some peach here. You normally use pink and a little bit of brown. You could even just do 1 drop of this brown and it will make a dusty rose. Really the most work this cake requires is the coloring. So do all that ahead and then get all your bags filled and ready to go, and the decorating part will be a breeze. I'm going to add 1 more drop of brown. Awesome. We're going to start with the cactus. I used a large round, number 12, to make the center. And then I have a 103 petal tip, wide end towards facing the center, and just pipe a line up to the top. And just repeat that all around. This is a 101 petal, and you're going to make a little flower there. I'm going to do 1 more here, just extend it up a little bit. And the flower is just 4 little petals ruffled on there. It doesn't have to look exactly like a flower, just it gives the effect of a flower. And then you would use the buttercup yellow again with the number 1, and along all these ridges you're going to do little dots. This is the most time-consuming part. Now we're going to make this beauty here. I love this one, my favorite. It starts with a flat, round base, as big as you'd like to make it. Switch your tip to a number 2 round. And you're going to make little round balls all around. your yellow or white, but I'm using yellow, and just make a tiny little dot on the end of on the top of each one. Next is a flower that looks like a mum, kind of, but it's a little bit different than a mum. It's very similar, and you use the same tip. It's number 81. It's the purple one right there. The difference is it's more vertical. Now we're going to make what looks kind of like a rose with our dusty rose. This is super easy. This is basically a ribbon. And it starts out like a rose. So you just do ribbons, and the piping bag stays vertical. So your tip is vertical the entire time. Some tips on mixing. So you don't want to over mix it because you want to keep it kind of streaky. So I'm just mixing it in a little bit, and then as I put it on the cake, it will mix even more. So I'm just going to take some ganache and kind of add that on there. So I want it to be textured like wood. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more amazing recipe and decorating tutorials, as well as upcoming collaborations with other YouTube creators. See you soon!